This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are coming to you from and beyond Ngala, where we are sitting with a pack of wild dogs in the Timbavati riverbed. Thanks for joining us this afternoon, and welcome to your live safari. Afternoon, and welcome back to Ngala, where we are starting with some wild dogs in the riverbed, and what a treat that is. Very, very excited. This is definitely one of my favorite carnivores out here. It's a very good way to start the afternoon. My name is Marna, and with me behind the camera is Gert. So this morning when we were with the lions, for those of you that tuned in, one of the other rangers actually found these wild dogs. And what's quite interesting about this scene is that they caught something this morning, and the impala is actually still next to them in the riverbed. So if we pan over to the right, you will see on the sand there that the carcass is still lying there. Now notice how the ribs and the bones, everything has been picked clean. Pinky, how big can wild dog packs get? I'd say it's an average of, let's say, 10 to 15 dogs, but you'll find that some of the packs are quite large, up to 30, even more in some areas. But at the moment, this pack we're looking at is only about 6 dogs. I know there was a pack on Gala that was 22. We've had different sizes of packs on the reserve. We're going to stay with them for a bit and see what happens here.
Good afternoon, everyone. We have just witnessed the most wonderful thing. The Wahlberg's eagle pair have just mated. They're now grooming one another. It's wonderful. The dark one at the back is the female. The pale one at the front is the male, and we actually know this pair. This is the Wahlberg's nest road pair. That is where they nest every single year, and they have literally just mated. What a great start to a great day. My name is Lauren, and I do have Niels on camera, and unfortunately the weather here in Djuma Game Reserve is not very pleasant. Chilly, windy, and extremely overcast, but that is just so wonderful. I've been waiting to see them together. I knew that the female, the dark one, had arrived, but I had not seen the male. Now, they're completely different colour morphs, but Wahlberg's eagles are monogamous and they stay together for the breeding season only. They're migrants, which is what I mean when I say arrived, and they're obviously getting ready for their little offspring ahead. I wonder if we'll get to see it again. It's so wonderful. They're very tender towards one another, they know one another, and they don't necessarily stay together as their pair when they leave the Lovell. They may separate and only reunite a year later. So I think I'm going to sit here and see if we can catch them mating once again.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Masai Mara of Kenya. Right here we have a pair or a bunch of Topi. My name is Tim, and behind camera we have Big James. Look at how beautiful the sun is this afternoon. Very nice Topis there. We have a breeding herd. We have mothers with their calves. These teeny tiny calves are just about a month old. So females will regroup at one place, and we call this maybe a nursery where they will be accompanying their calves out of danger. Look at that tiny one. I tell you, that calf can run as fast like the mother. Now, these Topis have picked up an open ground where they can watch from all directions. Look at how they've positioned themselves, each one looking from different direction. Maybe to be okay and sure that there's no predators walking around. Now, even though Topis have a sharp eye, these calves will fall vulnerable to predators, especially hyenas and even lions. So they've picked up this open space where it's good and quiet, where they'll be grazing. Daniel, yes, you're right. Topis are social because when one has a calf and the rest are around here, then they'll be around within this area trying to watch over the calf. But they're not known to be as social like other animals like the elephant, but they play a big role when they are watching over the calves. So these calves will be left here sometimes by themselves, and then their moms will go out to graze. A good indication that this is a safe place for them. And now when they were left to be by themselves, they lie down on the ground. Look at how brown they are. They blend in so well, such that if a would-be predator will be walking close to here, they will not be able to see these young Topis. Wow, look at that nursing, enjoying the milk before the mom goes out to graze. Now this, I think mom is not happy with the other calf. Come on, this is my milk time.
Jambo Jambo, hello, and welcome to another part of the Masai Mara. I do not have small antelopes like the top and the calf, but I got big, fully grown adults here, and I got mammals that we call the Masai giraffe. Not 3, but maybe 6. And apparently, they're all males. And I'm seeing a behavior that I have not seen in a long time. Of the 6 males, they had arranged themselves in 2s, and they were each having a match, what we normally call necking. Once in a while, we have seen the winner mounting on the loser at the sign of submission. Speak of the devil. And I'm seeing this as rather unusual behavior today because they are all 6 males and they had paired up 2 and 2. It normally happens once you lose and you're being battered by the other male. He will always, of course, not mate per se, but will always mount on the loser and then back to the herd. And what will happen? He'll say, he'll be the dominant one. Well, a very good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the other part of Masai Mara. My name is David, and on camera with me is Bungay. Remember, we are coming to you live, and I'm sure my friends have already told you to send us questions and comments at #WildEarth or at FC in the comment section of the YouTube channels. For the youngsters, kids' questions at WildEarth.tv. These are the Masai giraffes, as I said earlier. And I want to spend a few more minutes with them here, finding out exactly what they're doing. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, we are coming to you live.
So, I would like you to sit and appreciate these wild dogs with us for a moment, or painted wolves. Whoops, that one almost rolled over. Painted wolves, as they're also known as. And I think the most striking thing at the moment are these big round ears. So those ears, it helps them to keep track of each other over long distances. And then also the coloration. If you look at the ones that are on their sides now, the white blotches there, the white on the front legs. And then also the only constant you can see there is pretty much the face. So that black muzzle. And then they all have a white tip to the tail, which you can see on the one in front here. You can see the tip of the tail there is white. Now, earlier we noticed that the one female has white that extends all the way down from the rump to the tail. And that dog we actually recognize. She's from the Auburn pack.
Unfortunately, the eagles did not meet again. The male flew off, but that was so wonderful to see them together again for this breeding season ahead. Now we've got elephants around us. We've got a lovely female here. She's slightly younger, she's a small female, and the rest of the herd are just behind her. There's still so much food around for the elephants. They're definitely on their winter diet right now. You can see this individual is sticks and branches. That has more impact on their molars than soft grasses do. So they're still on their winter diet, but once we really do get those rains, this landscape is just ready to grow. It's ready to flourish. There's already small shoots of grasses popping up from the really little amount of rain we've already had. But once those heavy summer rains come, this entire landscape is going to transform and the elephants will relish it. The soft, palatable grasses are easy for them to chew and it doesn't wear down the molars as quickly. Milo, you're asking how much can elephants eat per day, and that's a fantastic question because they eat a lot. Now, just let me touch on what I was saying earlier because they will have different diets for summer and winter. In summer, they will eat 80% grass and 20% trees, whereas in the winter, at least here in the low veld, it's slightly different. Up in the likes of the Masai Mara, it will again be different because the landscape is different. So it does depend on what season it is for what they eat, but normally they can consume an enormous amount of organic matter. And for a big bull, a huge bull, which we're not looking at, we're looking at a small female, they say that it's around 450 kilograms of organic matter per day. 450 kilograms. Can you believe that? So we're going to sit with these elephants for as long as we can.
I'm absolutely filled with joy this afternoon, even though it is quite windy here on Pridelands, because we have found one of my favorite herds of elephants. Hello everybody, my name is Taylor McCurdy and on camera with me today is Odie as usual, and as I said, we are here at Pridelands, which is part of Baluli Game Reserve and also joins in the Greater Kruger National Park. So look at this. Okay, we'll find my favorite elephant in a minute, but there's an enormous one marching straight through the herd, and he dwarfs all the other elephants. There's my favorite elephant. So this elephant is a girl that I like to call Susan. She is the sassiest elephant you'll ever meet in your entire life, but she has indeed calmed down a little bit. Now, I suspect she's somewhere between the age of about 10 and 13 years old, maybe 14 years old. So she's not fully grown, but you can see how small she is in comparison to that big, fully grown elephant bull. Look, and we actually think that she might be coming into estrus, because at one point her behavior was just out of this world. She was so cheeky, she was so sassy, and she's very flirty with all the bulls, as you can see. So it's quite exciting, considering she's my favorite elephant, and I'm hoping that in the near future, probably not relatively soon, because I've got a very long gestation period, but she'll have a calf. Now, Pele, we'll just talk about this big elephant that we're looking at right now. You've asked how big can they actually get. So this bull, just guessing now, probably weighs closer to 6 tons. So he is enormous. He is huge. So they can weigh, normal elephant bull probably weighs about 5.5 tons. So I'm just going to roll back. The reason why I'm just rolling slowly is because, hello boy. He's obviously quite curious in that female. Apologies if there's any breakup. And she moved towards us. Not that he is really interested in us. He just likes to, of course, tell us and remind us who's actually boss out here. So when they say the lions are the kings of the jungle, this is not true. The elephants really rule the African plains. Just going to move back a bit more. So the reason why I'm just going to keep going is I think he's testing all these females to see if any of them are coming into estrus at the moment. Oh, look at the tiny little baby. That's like a small little elephant. Look at that. Hello. Yes, come and stand next to this big elephant, please, so that we can show the world how small you are. That elephant is definitely under the age of about a year old or so. But we're going to make sure that we just watch out and give this big one-tusked bull as much space as he needs.
Luckily, there's no musk bulls around here. This is a very calm and small herd. And building on Milo's question, so the big bulls can eat a lot, and the reason they eat so much more is not because they are essentially big. It's because as they get older, the efficiency of their digestion actually gets lower. So elephants only digest about 40% of what they eat, which is really poor. That's why their dung is so filled with undigested vegetation. But as the bull gets older, it drops from 40 to 30. So that's 10% less, which is why they have to eat more to meet those nutritional requirements. And, of course, they're bigger. But I would say on average, a normal-sized elephant in females will eat between 170 to 200 kilograms of organic matter. And they can pull up about 160 liters per day. Listen, she's breaking the branches. You see, she's crunching the wood. And that's what wears down their teeth quicker. The winter diet's not great for an elephant. Harder to digest and has much higher impact on the teeth. Clearly looks delicious though. And that's why they have to drink so much water. They're completely water dependent because their digestive process is not so strong. It's not very efficient. Hello. Oh, now you're just showing off. You see the pink tongue? Oh, this is so wonderful. We're going to stay here a little bit longer before I go check the hyena den.
Now, if you have a close look at these wild dogs, especially that one that's got its head up, you'll notice that belly of it is very, very full. So earlier when we had that impala carcass on screen, I mentioned that the bones have been picked clean, completely clean. So I doubt that these dogs actually finished that carcass. When we arrived in the riverbed, we had quite a few vultures sitting next to the carcass. So I believe they probably came down after the dogs had fed enough, and they finished the rest of that carcass. Now, it's quite uncommon for the dogs to leave the carcass and then just sleep right next to it, because as you can imagine, this carcass would attract other predators and scavengers, which these dogs obviously don't want. They're in the riverbed here, as mentioned before, and it's a nice open area, so at least they can see what's going on around them. Lana, what do wild dogs in Ngala hunt the most? I would say small to medium-sized animals. We see them hunting a lot of impalas, like the one they hunted here. And yeah, smaller things like duikers. We've seen them take steenbok. We've seen them take young kudu and wildebeest. And then we've even seen them hunting young buffalo, which is quite a risky one. But yeah, that has happened. And then quite often when you see them hunting and you're able to follow them, then you sometimes see them just taking ground birds whilst they're on the run. And they'll just grab them if they happen to flush them out of a little thicket somewhere. They're very opportunistic and incredible hunters. We're going to sit with them for a little bit longer and just see what they get up to.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Sorry, just I'm very impressed with that. Sorry, everyone. It seems as though we're having all the technical issues in the world today. But here we go. Here is my favorite elephant. I'm not too sure. I've got to be careful because I've got lots of favorite elephants, but it's the young female that the big bull came over and sort of smelt around her nether regions, just seeing if she was ready to be mated with, but not too impressed because he's now gone around to most of the females to sort of see them. Hello, girl. But she is such an awesome little elephant. She's very cheeky, and I feel like if I was an elephant, I'd be this one. But it's nice to see them back. We haven't had any breeding herds pass through Pridelands, well, at least that we found, for the last weeks or so. And we've been so fortunate to almost have breeding herds of elephants every single day for the past couple of months. So we were all very, very saddened by their departure, but that's normal for elephants, as they do spend most of their time moving around searching for things to feed on. But you can see them all just moving around in here. I suspect they might be heading north to a small watering hole just on the boundary of Pridelands. But some of their trunks do look a little bit wet, so maybe they did drink somewhere else a bit earlier this morning. But you can see them. I was so surprised. I honestly thought it was just bulls. And I thought, oh, elephant bulls again. When are we going to see the herds? And there's a little elephant that is very curious. Yes, come around this way. They all seem to always gather around that young female elephant I was talking about. She's a great aunt. She plays with the little ones, and I think that they learn a lot from her. Hopefully they won't pick up her attitude and will be a bit kinder to us in the vehicle.
Elephants are very intelligent animals, and especially the matriarch, as they train their youngsters. Not sure what to say about the buffaloes, and especially buffaloes like this. which are two old bulls, and if you look at them carefully, they are on their own, and exactly what they're doing now is to chew cud. Got a scratch there. We know buffaloes are ungulates that are ruminants. Just look at the face of that dagger boy. I've always said many times, buffaloes look very harmless. When you look at him, very docile, but in the part of Kenya that I come from, especially my village, buffaloes have done so much damage, followed by the hippos. You can see how he swings his jaws to just regrind what he had eaten earlier. We all know they got 4 stomachs, like any other ruminant. So after they stop eating, they'll regurgitate. Anushka, how are you today? And yes, you're saying, Anushka, you love the slow motion chewing. It's correct. It's what exactly Anushka was saying. They normally regurgitate what they had eaten during the day back in the mouth. And Anushka, look, mainly it's the lower jaw that keeps moving. See, he got tattered ears. You look carefully. His ears are torn, and that shows truly he's a senior citizen. And no wonder he's out of the main herd. As it is the tradition, old buffaloes will always live on their own. Fandan Nava, you're asking how long the buffaloes live for. 18 to 25 years is generally the lifespan of buffaloes. 18 to 25 years. And of course, it depends from one population or from one individual to another. Now, these are the buffaloes you don't want to play with, the males. If you look carefully, there are 2 of them, and one has laid down, and they always gang up like this, and as they retire or as they age, they live on their own. They become very easy candidates for predators like lions. We have seen lions choosing the old buffaloes. Emma, buffaloes, like most animals or like most mammals, if you look at them, look at the ears. You can tell the ears are torn. That's an indication of age. Although sometimes you could have some little branches tearing their ears. But also, look at the eyes. If you look around the eyes, especially on the right eye, you see got some white patches. At times, they get attacks from mites, or you'll get so many oxpeckers, birds that will always remove some parasite from the eyes. So the more white patches they look, it shows they've been there longer, they have lived long, and a bit old. And generally, you can look the physique or the body structure of the animal. The buffaloes, in particular the males, look at the size of the horns, what we call bows. It's huge and big, and that, of course, gets bigger with age. And then it's a little bit shiny, and that's an indication of age. Emma, looking at how he walks, a little limp, is all complications of old age. And I will let this buffalo keep chewing cud as I move on.
So we are currently sitting downwind from these wild dogs, and as mentioned earlier, they've all got full bellies full of protein. So you can imagine that this isn't the best smelling side, but all in the name of a good view. This one just moved his head. We were actually just pointing out that they all still have blood on their necks and on the sides of their cheeks. Now, I don't know if you can see through this little reed here, but just behind the ears, in the middle there, you can still see like a reddish tinge. Still quite dirty. Now, the other day, I think we were sitting with lions and someone asked a question about which carnivores are the cleanest, and I mentioned that wild dogs are definitely don't take that prize. And quite often after you've seen them feeding, they'll be full of blood. And for those of you that have seen wild dogs in the wild or in real life, I guess, and that have smelt them, they've got quite a pungent smell to them. And it's almost like urine and blood mixture, if I could describe it like that. It's an interesting smell. Oh, we're quickly linking to some lions.
Now, everyone, welcome to the Masai Mara. Here we have the river pride, and one of the lionesses here. And we can see that she is keenly looking at one direction. There's some buffalo that were advancing to their side. Now, a little while earlier, the other lioness was roaring, maybe making a contact call. Now they've all decided to move to a different direction. But still, that one is not convinced to move. She's still staring at the buffaloes while watching the rest of her sisters. Now they're moved over to Kirsty, thank you for your question. How loud is the lion's call? Now, a lion roar can be heard to up to 8 kilometers away. But for lions, they can hear a lion roar for up to 10 kilometers away. So 8 kilometers away, the lion roar can be heard. She's already been spotted by the giraffes. But since she's been spotted, she's just walking slowly towards the swamp there. Now the other lioness is following, so they'll all be making a move toward that side. You can hear that soft growl. That is a contact call, calling maybe the rest of the pride. They're going to rest there for a little while they wait for the sister to join them. Now, the giraffe will not take their eyes off these lions because they know there might be food anytime soon.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon here at Juma Private Game Reserve in Substance in Lawfield. Well, welcome in this area where today is 21 degrees 70 Fahrenheit and beautiful weather.
And my name's Andrew. On camera it's BK, and yeah, well, it's actually a really cool afternoon that everything's kind of showing off here. I'm sitting here with the male lion. This morning was very much sport, and since he hasn't changed. He's kind of now trying to roll upside down. Well, he hasn't eaten nothing. I would say he's probably about digesting taking place, but this morning we saw him walk. He ended up in his spot and then he hasn't moved. He's probably trying to kind of stretch, or they do lies upside down. Lions, when they sleep for a long time, finally get tired of, stand and change the position. They finally roll over to the other side. But see how camouflage is, just like a color of grass. So it looks like he's just going to be resting here.
And one of my favorites, clinging on for dear life. It's not a hyena, in case you were confused. It's a flap-necked chameleon. Hello, handsome. Or maybe beautiful. It's very difficult to sex them. They do say that you can look at the spurs on the back of the hind legs, but it's not as simple as that. And chameleons are generally said to be the quick change artists of the animal kingdom, but they're really actually quite poor at colour change. I mean, they're far better than humans, of course, but they're not that good at it. The process is extremely slow, and they're not camouflaging because they're already cryptic. So that's why it doesn't have to be fast. They're not trying to hide from predators or blend into the background because they already blend in. Niels will zoom out a little bit and show you really how well camouflaged this little individual is. Cold temperatures are not easy for reptiles, see? Right at the bottom there. So camouflage. So that's why the colour change process is really not quick. Why it changes colour is broadcasting its mood. It's unhappy. It's sleepy. It's in breeding season and is looking for a lady. Many different things, and that's why it colour changes, not to blend into the background. And I think because it's cold, this little reptile is not moving very much. They're solar powered, remember? They need the energy from the sun. So it's just chilling in the tree. And how they change colour is they have really, really specialised cells in their skin, and they're called chromatophores. Many different organisms have them, but that's how chameleons are able to change colour, and they do it through hormonal control because it's directly linked to mood, and that's why it's slow. So they change their mood, hormones are produced, the hormones have got to travel around the blood system, and then that will change the colour.
Now it seems like the buffalo is not happy with the lions. It's scaring and chasing them away. Look at the river pride, they're all walking away from the buffalo. You don't want to mess with the angry buffalo. Now these lionesses have calves, so they know they have to hunt on a regular basis, but you don't want to mess with such a big prey like that. Now buffaloes, they're not intimidated by lions, and whenever there's a lion or a predator within their vicinity, they always scare them away. Wow, look at that. That buffalo is mean. Doesn't want any lions within that area. But sometimes they fall trap when they're angry like that. They can fall prey to the lions because these three lionesses, I'm sure they're strong enough, experienced enough to take down that kind of buffalo. So if by any chance that buffalo gets stuck because it's too wet there, definitely those lions are gonna go after her. But the lion seems like they've ignored and they don't want to go around with that buffalo, so they're going on their mission, maybe trying to look for something else. Now, this is the time that Roger, thank you for your question. Is a Cape buffalo capable of killing a lion? Yes. Buffaloes can kill a fully grown lion. Look at the horns, look at the size. And sometimes we find lions going after the buffaloes, getting gored by their sharp horns. And injuries can be fatal and end up to death. Yes, buffaloes can kill lions. Now, our river pride lionesses have decided to go away. We have a big herd behind us. And so one of the buffaloes has decided to chase them away. Now, they're still determined to find something else. While, you don't want to mess with something big, something that will put your energy away. So they might go for maybe a younger one, or maybe zebra, or maybe wildebeest. Now, as they're walking around the bushes. Sometimes they flush out prey. Could be the reedbucks or some other antelopes that are around the bushes, and sometimes they get an advantage of those kind of antelopes.
I don't want to leave this little guy, not just yet. You see, he's moving independently, 360 degrees, those eyes. They're turret-like, and they're forward-facing for binocular vision. And this is so that they can be very precise when capturing their prey. So they're looking at two vastly different pictures, and their brain is processing that, which is just incredible. But I think I was talking about colour change. And when I say they're bad at it, I don't mean they're bad. They're just not the best. Cephalopods, which are your octopuses, your cuttlefish, and your squids, that sort of category of animals, they are the best at colour change. And they use the colour change to blend in, to camouflage, and that's why it has to be fast. So they can't rely on hormonal control because that's far too slow for them. It's not going to save their life from a predator. It's not going to happen fast enough by the time the blood goes around their entire body. They're blue blood, of course. They don't have red blood. It's blue. And that's why it's under neural control. It's neurons firing in their brain, and it happens within a fraction of a second. And it's so accurate. The cells are so specialised that the remarkable capabilities of an octopus camouflaging are just beyond words, as I'm sure some of you have seen. Liam, when this particular chameleon gets angry, they tend to go a little bit dark in colour, and black spots can appear on their body, and this is from melanophores. There's different types of chromatophores. You can break them down to xanthophores, which are your yellow and red pigments, iridophores, which are your sort of clear crystals that'll give that iridescence, and then you have your melanophores, and that's black pigment. So there's different types of chromatophores, and he will go a little bit black if he's not happy. He also goes very orange, if this is a male, by the way, under the chin when he's in breeding season and he's ready to show the ladies that he's ready for them, basically. And normally when he becomes really washed out and he pales, he almost goes a pastel green, if not white. And that's when he's resting and his metabolism is slowing down and he's going to sleep. And that's why it's a little bit easier to find chameleons at night through the spotlight, because they sort of glow yellow in the spotlight. But they are diurnal. They're not nocturnal. They're just resting. And that's why their colour is changing.
Now, I can assure you that these dogs would definitely not be laying around so lazily if they heard that lioness calling that you guys heard earlier. And lions do, unfortunately, kill wild dogs if they do come across them, and that is the number one natural cause of death under wild dogs and their pups, unfortunately. None of the carnivores out here really like each other, and that just eliminates competition. So if a lion was around here, they would probably try and sneak up to these dogs, and that wouldn't be a pretty sight to see. But for now, they seem pretty happy. All of them fast asleep. Thomas, what's the difference between hyenas and wild dogs? So they are in two different families. So these are dogs, as the name states, and hyenas aren't dogs. They're not cats either, but they're in an order of their own. And then looks-wise, the hyenas have that sloping back, you know, those really strong front legs or front quarters, and the shorter back legs, whereas wild dogs have these long, almost skinny legs, straight back. The wild dogs have these big round ears that I pointed out earlier, whereas hyenas don't have that. And the hyenas also have these really long, thick necks and very large heads, powerful jaws as well. Whereas I'd say the wild dog's head is like more in proportion to the body. But they do have a few similarities, though, I would say, in the way they hunt. Hyenas are largely seen as, well, mostly scavengers, but they are really incredible hunters as well, and they hunt in a very similar way to these wild dogs, where they just go for the vital organs and they rip the animal apart pretty much, and the animal will then die of blood loss and shock. But we actually often see the wild dogs and the hyenas together. The hyenas follow the wild dogs because they know that the wild dogs will eventually catch something, and then they'll try and chase them off and steal their carcass. And then with concerns to the coats, the wild dogs have these blotches on them, which are quite beautiful. And the hyenas that we find in this area, the spotted hyena, they've got that brownish coat with the black spots, hence the name spotted hyena.
Beautiful. So this male lion, he's now sleeping flat again, but now his whole legs are down. So he hasn't even looked at us for, a lot of time since we get here. And understand this, since we found the other pride, Dalamati pride, which is far east from where he is right now. And I believe there was no such a contact call was happening during the day. So he's just gonna be sleeping down here for now.
Now the river pride have decided to walk and maybe try to find, when they're finding food, they've come across some buffaloes. There was a little standoff, but I'm sure they've been outnumbered by the buffalo. We have about 4 buffaloes. Now the river pride have decided to carry on with their hunting mode. They are on the stroll trying to find something. A little while earlier there was a standoff between the buffaloes and the lion. Now my name is Tim, and behind camera we have Big James. We've been following the river pride here, who seems like they want to find something for their cubs. Now lions have to hunt on a regular basis, especially when they have cubs. This is because they're still nursing, the cubs are still young, so they lose a lot of energy. Kamfa, you are the largest cats on earth are the tigers. Now these are the largest cats in Africa. Lions are the largest cats in Africa. So in the world we have the tigers, who are the largest cats. Now as could carry on walking, we're gonna follow them slowly and see what they're up to. I'm sure we'll be in for a surprise, because they seem so much determined by the way they look. Slowly walking in a hunting mode. That is how lions walk when they want to find something to eat. Stroll like that, slowly in a small, slow pace. where they cannot deter away prey. Now, this is the river pride. A little while earlier, they tried to get into confrontation with the buffaloes. So we are going to follow them closely at not a very close distance, but a safe distance where we will not disturb them at all.
Look at what we've got with its head just popping out of a termite mound. That is a little dwarf mongoose, one of my favorite animals and highly intelligent creatures in the bush. But you can see that they're all fluffed up today. They are very, very cold. Sorry, I have a fly buzzing around my head, so apologies if the camera starts to shake. It's me fighting off the flies. If only I could have a little mongoose come and sit here, although I don't think they'd really chase the flies away. I need a chameleon on my shoulder. But anyways, this is where they live. And it's just to the right. Keep going with pan to the right a bit. Yeah, it's there. Sorry, I'm just trying to show Odie on the monitor. To the left where the mongooses zoom in now. It's just gone into the little mound. Sorry about that. It's because it's very, very cold today. I don't think they're going to stay out and forage for the entire day. So I think that they're planning on heading home a bit earlier. Jennifer, they are indeed so cute. They are very precious. I was hoping that they'd hang around and stay out a bit more, but the wind is starting to pick up, and now that it's obviously getting later in the day, it's quite chilly. So I imagine most of the morning, or maybe even just the middle of the day, they would have come out and gone around and scurrying through all the grass and dead leaves looking for delicious insects. I don't know how much luck they would have had with finding any reptiles on a cool day like today. Actually, I don't know if foraging would have gone very well at all. I would have just stayed in bed. But that's what they're going to do. And it's nice and warm inside there. If you were to stick your hand into one of those openings where that termite mound is, you'll feel the hot air sort of rushing out. It's really, really quite nice. So there is no need for them to come out here. I've been looking around and listening to see and hear if I can see any more of the dwarf mongoose, but I cannot. So I think the others might be in there already. So normally if you sit really quietly, they're very vocal and they communicate with one another. You can sort of hear these high-pitched sort of squeaks. I'm not going to try and imitate it for you, but I can't hear that. So that kind of says to me that they're probably all inside the termite mound.
Well done to have spotted the dwarf mongoose. I think dwarf mongoose are our smallest carnivores that we have here in Africa. And I think I also got very special birds. Do you want me to back up, Bungay? Let me just back up a little bit to give Bungay is the gentleman on the camera today. I want to give him a good shot of these very special storks that I love to watch. And there's some of the most beautiful storks that we have in Africa. Are you up there? Okay. And these are the sand-billed storks. Just look at them walking very stately, majestically. Oops, just had a poop there. If you're so careful, it was all white. Lots of carnivores they eat. Just look at the walking gait. Very stately. It's a male and a female. Sand-billed stork. And I would say this could be the tallest stork that we got in East Africa, probably in Africa. Could go to 1.5 meters in height. And they're exclusively carnivores, I would say. Any fish, any frog, any crab comes on their way, they'll eat it. And mainly they will feed in puddles of water. We have lots of rains now in the Masai Mara, and I'm sure they are having lots of food. The one on the left to me looks a little bit larger than the one on the right. I would guess that should be the male. But the males will also have a small little yellow wattle under their neck. And other difference between the two the male will have a dark brown eye and the female will have a yellow eye. Although sometimes from a distance could be very difficult to tell males from females. Caterpillar, how are you? And you're asking how many stork species we have in the Masai Mara. Very quickly, I'll say off my head, we got 8. 8 storks in the Masai Mara. This is one of them, the sandal-billed stork. We got the marabou stork. We have the woolly-necked stork. We have the abdims stork. We have the yellow-billed stork. Those are 5. Yeah, about 8. I'll just confirm the rest with you right now, but those are 8, 5 I gave you. And then which one am I missing? We have the marabou stork, we have the sandal-billed stork, and which stork? We have black stork, we have the open-billed stork, and I think that makes 6, not forgetting the abdims stork. Yeah, about 8 storks that we have in the Mara. 2, 3, 4... 5, 6, 7. Yes. And once in a while, caterpillar, we also see the shoe-billed stork, but it's very rare. In the Mara, I would say that we have about 7. I'll spend a few more minutes here watching these majestic storks as they continue feeding.
And these wild dogs are still sleeping. So normally, they would hunt early in the mornings and then late afternoons. Ron, what is a wild dog's success rate in hunting? They are actually the most successful carnivore in Africa when it comes to hunting. And I've read that up to 70%. 70, sometimes 80% success rate, which is incredible. Now you can imagine if these dogs start running, they've got an incredible amount of stamina and they're quite quick. They go up to around 56 kilometers an hour. And they kind of just tire their prey. As I mentioned earlier, they kind of rip at them as well. So they don't hunt like the other predators. Things like lions and leopards will suffocate their prey, so they'll go for the back of the neck, maybe the throat, the muzzle, and they'll slowly suffocate them, whereas these wild dogs just rip them apart. It is not the nicest thing to see, but in a way, it does end a lot quicker. So, I don't know, like, a lot of people don't like them because of that, but at least the animal dies very quick. Every now and again you can see them putting up their heads, just listening to the sounds around us in the riverbed. Very lazy. Please remember to send through all your questions and comments, and thanks for joining us this afternoon.
Wild dogs, such a beautiful. So here, still no change. Our lion, lone male lion, still sleeping flat. And it will come to a time now where you probably, once it's dark, you will be able to move around, since they're highly nocturnal, these cats. But that doesn't mean that they won't move during the day. They were able to move during the day. Like just this morning when we got them, he just led us into this spot here from the watering hole, the way we've been found. So he was actually last night, very vocal. So he was calling a lot, since he's part of that other 2 male that are not around here. I'm not sure where they are. But I believe maybe once it's dark, he would do contact call again. The reason they do it at night pretty much is because of the sound at night, travel a lot further than during the day where it's a lot of pollution, it's a lot of sounds from birds, things like that, cicadas and all of that. So they can when they want to, but it's a waste of time. They rather do it when it's dark, deadly quiet at night. It's got a beautiful dark, I'm not sure it's one of the dark men amongst the three of the vocal males. Then I'm sure he is. I saw him when he walked this morning. I mean, he's a big fellow, he's a big guy. So he was calling a lot yesterday, probably because of Mark. Welcome to the show. You want to know how much adult male lion would weigh? So male, they weigh more than a female. So a male would weigh anything from 200 kg to 130 kg possibly. And then female, somewhere around 150, 170 if that's fully growing. So that's average weight for such a big male like this. I can go up to about more than 230 sometimes, depending on a gene pool. In this cat, sometimes you find some gene pool, these body get bigger much than the rest. And of course, single male like this, he can take a buffalo down by himself if he's brave enough to do it. It's so that, on buffalo is so much work to do, and it's not easy animal to die quickly. Sometimes lion get tired and give up. But, he's very good on that. I'm gonna sit here, see what happened.
I don't know if she's talking to us, but I can hear the mic, but I can't hear them. And Diaz.
So sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes such issues will be there, technical issues, but we are always very set to organize things. You'd imagine when we broadcast all the way from Africa here in the African wilderness, we'll face some technical challenges. Now, I've come to this area, I've not been for quite some time, because a leopard is here called Romy, and this is her territory, or what you see here. But when I didn't come, you can see how the car is going. It's because of the rains we have been having in the Masai Mara, but luckily we got very good four-wheel drive vehicles. So this is one of the afternoons. I'm just hoping to see that particular leopardess called Romy. But now with such cold temperatures, I don't expect to see her on top of the trees. I'm imagining most likely, if anything, I'll see her in the ground or under the bushes, or maybe lying on a rock, just getting some warmth from the rock. Those are the possible places I expect to find this particular leopardess. Excuse me. And not far from here, there's another leopardess we're also thinking that got two cubs. So what I'll do is to keep driving slowly, stop, look, stop, and look.
Greetings everyone and good afternoon. Welcome to the Mara. We have a pride of lions here. We call them the river pride. They are out on a stalking game. They are walking here, trying to find something to put onto their dinner menu. Now, my name is Tim, and behind camera we have Big James. We are so much excited of this sighting because these lionesses have cubs. They have 4 cubs, and we are so happy to see that they'll be going to find something to eat, because lions, when they have cubs, they nurse on a regular basis, and this means that they have to hunt often. Now, this is how they choose to walk when they're on a hunting mode. Now look at how they are walking in unison, very softly, not to deter away prey. This is so common that when you see lionesses or lions walking like this, you definitely know that they're up to something. See, they're walking in single file. You can see how they're softly just walking on the road. Now, earlier, they tried to stand off between them and some buffaloes, but then the buffaloes won. We saw a buffalo just chase them away. I'm sure they're going for a different kind of prey. Now, the direction they're heading is where we had lots of herds from wildebeest and zebra. Good question, and thank you for raising that. The river pride is bigger than the Owino pride. We have about more lionesses than the Owino pride. Owino pride, we only have about 3 lionesses. So they're walking slowly, and we're going just to follow them slowly, not just to make sure we don't deter away their prey. Now, we're just going to follow them slowly and see what they're up to. I'm sure we're crossing fingers for them to find something this evening.
Well done, team. Follow those lionesses. And ladies and gentlemen, it's just a few minutes ago, or is it seconds ago? Okay, minutes ago, I was talking of a leopardess, and I said why I specifically came to this area. We have always known out of the many years we have been in the African wilderness that some animals like lions, leopards are territorial. And you'll always gamble and chance where to get them. And there she is. How lucky I think I am, or all of you are. Now, what I want to confirm, and I'm sure maybe James Richard could be watching, and Rebecca in the final control, I'm sure James will keep in touch with us if this actually is the leopardess Romy. She has yet to give us her face, but I first stopped at a distance, not to go very close to her, because you remember I spoke of another leopardess not very far from this area, and once in a while we have seen both of them overlapping the same area. So we do not have a name as yet from the first one, but Romy, we are 100% certain, and James Richard has always confirmed to us that it is Romy. Blends in very well where she is. You may not believe it. I passed here about 45 minutes ago. Well, most likely she was there, but you never know. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, and I think David was thinking, and our good friend, James Richard, has confirmed it's Romy 100%. James Richard, Jambo Jambo, and Asante Sana. Hello, Romy. Thank you for showing up. We're very proud of you. Not exactly saying she reminds me of Talamba in Juma, but she's one girl that is very calm, unlike the other female that we have seen, who is always very shy. Romy will rest. She will give you all the angles you want to take her photographs. She's very photogenic and doesn't seem bothered, by either cars or people. Of course, people behave well. I do. It's only Bungay who will move his camera once in a while, depending on what he wants to show you. I wouldn't even have an idea how old Romy is. But maybe the more I see her, it'll give me, a rough estimate of how old she could be. See how windy it is? She doesn't look bothered by that. My guess is that fallen tree there had a lot of warmth in it, and it's of course what she's enjoying. And the wind is just blowing the elephant grass. She keeps looking on her left if she's left-handed. I'm not sure what she could be looking at. The 2, 3, 4 times I've seen Romy, I haven't seen her with a kill. But I would imagine she hunts like any other leopardess or leopard and maybe stashes her kill in those thickets that Bungay is showing you. Because as soon as she's out of sight, direction she is facing, that's most likely where she goes to bed. Either on top of a tree, under some rock when it's cold, or in a particular den in the thickets there. Those are areas nobody goes there. If anybody, could be the game rangers, but you have no roads that could at least have an idea where she stays for the night. Remember, all this is live to you. Questions and comments are very welcome. Hashtag WildEarth or at FC in the comment section of the YouTube chat channels. Should you want to know more about this beautiful girl here called Romy. She has even taken a more comfortable position than before, indicating that she's very comfortable with us. She's not going anywhere. Look at her belly. And you can tell she is not panting at all. And Ruda, you're asking why, leopards are lone animals, and ideally, that's how evolution has put leopards to be. They're very solitary animals, unlike the lions that you saw with Tom, 3 lionesses, and other prides of lions or coalition of lions. Leopards are always solitary as that. But here Androda is, even being solitary, leopards are able to survive. They are able to take care of themselves. They are able to hunt. They are able to do what they need to do to survive. But you notice and Luda, other animals or other cats, for example, lions, they need to be social to survive. I mean, when they go hunting, you notice many times they go for big prey. So the bigger the number, the easier it is for them to bring a prey down. A leopard will get, for example, a duiker, some small antelopes, like impalas, grand gazelles. Sometimes you see them hunting small little birds, which is enough meal for one leopard or leopardess. I'll spend a few more minutes here with my friend and possibly go the other direction to find out what she is looking at.
Beautiful, leopards are beautiful out there. From leopard to a male lion lying here, right close to us. You would imagine, it looks like once he had actually raised his head up. It looks like there's another audio coming from the south. Could be another male there or another pride. And the standing in this area yesterday was 2 prides, Nkuhuma and Talamati. They were in the area. And it looks like in Nkuhuma they went back south again across the southern border. And then if that's the case, be calling out there. So, but he hasn't responded. He only look and lie down again. So he's probably waiting for a more of an audio. Maybe later he'll respond. I'm not sure. But yeah, you can see how he just doesn't really bother at all by us. Even though birds calling from the background, that doesn't really worry him. The wind died down. So it's a good result that he could pick up an audio from distances. Like he just picked up right now. So once it's dark, he'll probably move, probably go drink and focus on locating the rest of the partners, his partners. But probably he will do a lot of vocal again, because this is how they would be able to hook up again with the rest. So sense the smells, hearing as well, as you could pick up an audio from distance, is one of the, the main tract of one another. So I'm gonna wait here for another moment to see if there is any change with him.
Welcome back to Ngala. So we've left those wild dogs in the riverbed for the other vehicles to also have a look. And we've found two elephant bulls on the bank here. It's just moving around us. The other one's on the other side. Let's see if we can... disappearing into the bush. Before he started moving, I was actually having a look at his trunk. And it looked like he'd actually lost the tip of the trunk. I'm going to... Let me see if I can just reposition us quickly. Let's see. Right, the two of them, we can only see the two for now, but the two of them just strolling along the bank of the riverbed here, feeding as they're going. They're having a bit of a tussle when we just arrived, pushing each other around. The other one's slightly younger compared to this one. Picking some leaves, shoving it into his mouth. Just crashing through the bush. It's incredible how they just disappear in this vegetation. He blends in so well. Maybe we'll have a nice view of the one in front. Let's see. I don't know if you can shoot past the tree here. Should I go slightly further forward, maybe? Just there. There we go. You can see this one is slightly smaller compared to the one that we just had a look at. And he's actually feeding on a young jackalberry tree. You can see the leaves of that tree that he's feeding on is almost like orangey red in color. Normally with the young jackalberries and a lot of the trees out here, the new fresh leaves will be orange red in color because it has a lot of tannins, and that's to keep the herbivores away. It's not a very tasty leaf. Doesn't seem to bother him.
Now our river pride is still on the patrol, still determined to find something to eat. Now they've walked up to maybe 2 kilometers now from where they are right now, and still determined to head where there's lots of plains game. Now, lions or predators will be attracted moving to where there is prey. So, depending with the movement of prey, that is how lions will keep on moving. So, we're not sure what they're going to for because we're not sure what is around this area, but definitely they're up to something. We had wildebeest and zebras around not far from where they're heading. Capello, thank you so much for your question. How long is a lion lifespan? So we have two aspects. Male lions can go for shorter lifespan simply because they keep on being ousted from the prides. Now, the lionesses or the females never leave the natal pride. They never leave the pride. So because of that, any male that will come in will give them a success because they are protected. Now, because they work together and stay in a pride, females can go up to even 20 or more years. Then the males, sometimes they have a short lifespan, can go up to about 12 if they're lucky, and sometimes even 14, and some even up to 10, depending on the bigger the pride, the more the success. So I would say the two aspects is that males can go for a shorter lifespan and females go for a longer lifespan. So as the lions have walked away, we'll still go in search for them and see what they're up to.
That's very true, team. And apparently it could be the same lifespans here for the leopards. And leopards in general, we live anything between 12 years to 17 years. And somehow the females slightly bit longer than the males. Now, I just repositioned and I came to that position where you can see Romy. Shoo! I'm not going to say dead asleep because you can see her opening her eyes. And I was talking, if you look at her belly, earlier I was talking about, if you look at her belly carefully, she doesn't seem to be panting because the temperatures have gotten so low. Some nice breeze blowing from one side, from those, you can tell from the magic angora trees and those young trees of the East African green heart. But ideally, it's pretty cool. And if she's getting some nice warmth from that dead tree log there, she's just bound to have a nap. Linda, great comment. Yes, you're saying gorgeous. Truly, Linda, she is a gorgeous girl. She's very beautiful. Many thanks, Linda. And Linda, should you have a question on the same girl here, please don't be shy. She opens her eyes once in a while, twitches her ears, and from the background you can hear some frogs calling, and most likely it could be disturbing her nap. See how peaceful she is. And this shows a lot of confidence on some of these cats with us. Team, you're asking if leopards are rare to find in the Mara. Not really. Leopards are there. But you remember I was showing you earlier, or Bungay on the camera showing you some thickets that we have no access. There's no infrastructure for us to get to those areas. And if you look at the vegetation of some areas like the Sami Sands in Kruger National Park and the Masai Mara Game Reserve, it's huge difference. Just look at that, team. The trees or the vegetation here, huge trees. It's very difficult for us to go in, but leopards are there. We could see this leopard, maybe drive on the way home, spot another one, but leopards are there. It's only that we do not see them as maybe they're spotted in South Africa. What are you looking at, Romy? Since I was on the other side, I kept seeing her facing that direction. But apparently, these cats will see stuff that we don't see. They could be, or she could be spotting a prey somewhere. And maybe as darkness falls, she'll slowly go and bring it down for dinner. But definitely you can tell she is looking at something. Tim, look at those trees. Tell me, where or how could you spot a leopard? Behind or by those trees. So we normally drive very slowly because we got roads by the edge of the forest and we keep looking. But way in there, out of love of nature, we don't have any designated routes where you can drive. Newer leopards will climb anything. You're asking how high they can climb. A few factors come in play. Number one, for example, if she, for example, got a kill or she hunts a prey down and the closest tree that she finds comfortable with, the first nice branch for her will be about 5 meters, they will do 5 meters. If it's 10 meters, that is what they'll do. At times, should she feel concerned by other predators that might come and snatch her meal, like either lions or hyenas, she may choose to go a little higher. But also on certain trees, they determine how high they will go because they may want to keep their kill as fresh as possible. So they may choose a tree that has very good branches cover or leaves cover that will keep the kill as fresh as possible and also maybe conceal it from being picked up either by vultures or by hyenas. Apparently also, we get them hiding it from other members or other leopards. I'm laughing because I just spotted a giraffe somewhere. So, Bungay, sorry, if you pan to your left, it's so strange. I don't know how I spotted this giraffe. But the giraffe, just looking at Romy, initially I thought it was a branch, it was a tree. This is very funny. She just poked up her neck there. I'm surprised to see the giraffe. Look at her. Looks like a young giraffe to me. Not very big, not very mature. But she first blended in very well with that broken branch tree trunk there. And she's looking straight at Romy. And I'm sure Romy has an idea. There's a giraffe here. I mean, I haven't seen leopards or leopardesses of this size hunting a giraffe, but I've seen male giraffes hunting giraffe calves many times here in the Mara. Isn't it wonderful? Just to know, Romy has no idea. Look at, I'm guessing they're like 20 meters apart. Romy and the giraffe. The giraffe might be walking away because the giraffe has to be sure that Romy is not seeing her. But Romy is not bothered and she's just enjoying her afternoon snooze. Her head is up and giraffe have noticed. And what the giraffe will do, it'll just have to go away. It has no choice. So Romy is looking at the giraffe walking away. Oh, giraffe, don't take chances. Romy, that's too big for you for a prey, so don't even bother. That giraffe is scared. Romy, what do you think? Go for the usual prey. The antelopes, the gazelles, grunt or a Tomi or an impala. Romy, I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying with you right here.
Beautiful. You know, cats like leopard, they all like to lie and be well camouflaged, just like our lion over here. But he's not actually really well camouflaged since he's actually put his back leg up and he's probably trying to, I would dream it's taking place, I would assume so. And of course he probably gets some scent where was a gate around here last night. This is what probably make him do that. It's unusual, but it's usual for lions. to able to make sure that they're a male. So maybe it happens that the other bride return to the area here, or he would go look for the bride. Since it's no response from him, he doesn't actually respond. There was a call, but he didn't respond. So he's probably maybe noticed that another male calling somewhere. Maybe he probably doesn't really want males. He's probably focusing on finding the females. Lions are powerful animals. They are hunter a lot, big game. But of course, when they come lazy sometimes, like for example, this male has been lying here the whole entire day. It's almost the day is ending soon. But of course, once they focus on their own hunt, that's pretty much focus on what they need to get. So medium size from zebra, wildebeest, kudus, waterbuck will be taken. Blake, you want to know how... Welcome to the show, first of all. And the reason you want to know why the lions usually sleeping, putting their legs up. Female can do that sometimes, not only males, just because of maybe trying to make sure the cool system is taking place. But at the same time, I know a lot of time when a female, she's mating with males, after mating, she would roll up or put the legs up or upside down just to maybe make sure that she had a fun. But here what's happening is, I know a lot of time most cats, one thing for sure, they have they are testicle visible, most cats, leopards, lions, even, wild dogs, but that's because of the temperatures they deserve all the time. So that's all about that, and they don't really spend a lot of time trying to, especially on the move. So they move comfortably than the other animal can. If you want to talk about buffalo, any cattle, cows, when they run, especially bulls, and they have a problem with running around, controlling themselves. So, but with the cats, they move quite comfortably, since all their sexual parts, it's right at the back end, and there's nothing between their foreleg. So, but there is probably one of the, maybe trying to cool off, or probably, he's been thinking too much of, what was happening last night here, since he picked up a lot of a scent of other females. So we'll see what is going to happen here after this. He's probably going to show us a little bit of walk around.
The river pride is still on the prowl, still searching for prey. Look at how they're walking. One of them stopping to wait and check, and then taking course, following the rest. Now these three seem like they have a big mission. And tonight, I think what's going to be their dinner is maybe a wildebeest, because where they're heading is where we had the big herds of wildebeest and zebra. Now, sometimes when they're walking like this, they might flush out prey, reedbucks, waterbucks, bushbucks. They like hiding in the bushes. The reason why they're walking slowly and in a very single file. Now, also, when they're walking like that, they get to sniff the scent trail left by the prey or the plains game as they're walking. Remember, we're coming to you live. #WildEarth. For the young viewers, please send us your view or questions at kidsquestion@wildearth.tv and on YouTube, comment section at FC. For those who are joining us now, this is the River Pride. So the River Pride is big, and some of the lionesses have split up, especially these three, because they have 4 young ones. And when lionesses have cubs who are younger than maybe 4 or 5 months, they split themselves, isolate themselves from the pride. And then later on, maybe when they're about 6 or 7 months, they'll be introduced later to the pride. So these three, back to their mission again, we're going to watch and follow them closely to see what they're up to and if they'll be lucky this evening. Sonia, thank you for your question. How do lions communicate amongst each other on a hunt? Now, there's some signals sometimes when one poses, one just watches the way the other one has posed, soft growl, and also just instinctively the pose or the position, how they walk. It's just instincts that come in very, very well when they were communicating during a hunt. Now off they go behind the bushes. We're going to follow them around, maybe see what they are or where they're going to. So I'm gonna try and follow them closely. You can see the vast savanna and the grassland. See how these lions are blending in. From a distance you can't really tell if there are lions there.
Yeah, the savanna happens to be beautiful when we look at cubs, or rather at lions, when you see them moving in the grass. Now, Romy has just changed her sleeping position. And for those of you who are joining us now, this is a leopardess by the name Romy. And initially she had a different sleeping position, like crouching. And she saw a giraffe. She looked at a giraffe. The giraffe looked at her. And the giraffe left. But I'm thinking the giraffe did not go very far. What I want to do is just to back up a little bit. And we have a look at this giraffe here. Hold on, Bungay. Hopefully you're going to see them together. Are you happy there? Or keep coming? Okay. Now, definitely giraffe is such a huge prey for a small leopardess like this, maybe 30, 35 kilos, 70 pounds. But now we've got two giraffes. We have that one there, and we have that. If I was a long way before coming here and saw these giraffes, Lancelot, you're asking what sound do giraffes make? Now, giraffes will make a very, or I would say infrasound, sound that are very low frequency, very low pitched for a human ear to pick. But giraffes will moan and they'll also grunt. But it's basically infrasound, just sometimes like the elephants, that a human ear cannot pick. But they do communicate. But you'll be surprised, bigger or more communication of giraffes is done using their eyes or their faces. In that position, they do communicate a lot, and they could be sending message maybe to other giraffes, don't come here, there's some danger. Or they could be looking at a predator, showing the predator, I can see you. And using their huge brown eyes, they carry lots of communication in their eyes. But basically, it's even very hard for us out in the bush to hear them communicate. But as I said, they use lots of infrasound that's beyond reach of a human ear. It's becoming interesting here now to have two giraffes, and there's one just popping out of the bush. Romy stays here. I'll also stay here.
Good afternoon, everyone. As cold as it was this morning, it is that hot this afternoon. You can just see this pair of vultures actually starting to circle. We just came over this dune now and they went up and they're starting to circle now to possibly catch some thermals to get some altitude to start looking for food. It looks like it might be white-backed vultures. My name is Moritz, by the way, and behind the camera, as always, we've got David. But yeah, guys, it looks like white-backed vultures. Interesting to see them in a pair like this. We don't often see vultures out here, so not that it's uncommon to see them in a pair like that. However, to see them now over here in the Kalahari as a pair like that is quite refreshing. It might mean that they've got a nest here somewhere or something like that. So very, very cool. And as you can see, they are just getting higher and higher. So I do think they found some thermals there now. And they are going to go up all the way until they feel like now it's a good height for us to start looking for something to scavenge on. You know, not that they hunt often. With the vultures, you actually find them exclusively scavenging. However, with the white-backed vultures, they have been known to sometimes hunt little lizards and things like that. If they come across them, it's not an everyday thing. But when they go up like that, I mean, they're not going to look for a lizard like this. They are going to look for something that has died, which they can scavenge on. Incredible to see them moving like that. I always feel like it must be incredible to have the ability to fly and to soar like that.
We have just had our funniest encounter of the week, if not the year, actually, Niels and I. This grey heron, which is standing now on the shoreline, was surfing the hippopotamus. So it was standing on the hippo's back and the hippo was trying to shake it off and it wasn't working. So the grey heron stayed on as long as it could and it looked like it was surfing, which was rather entertaining. And there's also a little grebe somewhere. I can't see it right now because they can... it's there, Niels. Slightly more to the left on the other side of the dam. And it's also trying to jump on the hippo's head. So I don't really think the hippos are very happy with either the grebe or the heron. I don't think we'll have a visual of it now, Niels. The hippo could easily try and hurt the heron, but it doesn't. We've actually seen a friendship blossom from the hippo and the grebe in the other dam. This is Buffelshoek Dam. KDM, I'm going to go for M. You're asking, why are hippos so territory driven? If you are a dominant male and you have to constantly compete for your ladies, and with hippos it's a harem structure, and the dominant bull has got to remain the dominant bull in order to retain his ladies, in order to have the sort of best access to breeding rights and also the look after the young in the harem as well, which would make up what they call a bloat in its entirety. So any mammal that has a territory, be it a lion, be it a leopard, be it a hippo, they will of course be territory driven because they have to be. If they don't look after their territory and they don't look after their little patch that is theirs in whatever way they do it, whether it's through yawning, whether it's through helicopter style defecating or scent marking, they have to do that because they are a territorial animal. If they're territory driven, they have to look after their territory, or they then become non-territorial, which is what we're thinking maybe Tingana is now, possibly nomadic. So dominant bull's got to hold on to his status and be territory driven, or else he will no longer be the dominant bull in town. And it becomes very competitive for hippos, especially in the winter. Although in saying that, this winter has been very giving, but once the sort of competition for water bodies starts, that's when male hippos tend to fight a lot more, because they're all competing for space and ladies. Not necessarily food, because they forage out with the water body at night time. And they can travel quite far away from the water, but when they return, it's space and ladies. But I think this hippo just doesn't want a heron surfing his back. Why would you not want a heron on your back, Mr. Hippo? I think the heron's done with its surfing for today. So we're going to bumble on and see what other entertaining sightings we can find.
Beautiful. So, here, this single male line, again, we had a kind of looks like sound was more of contact call from the southern side, but that didn't really actually bother him too much, so he was not interested of even listening to it. Maybe it's probably there is some more pride on the far south, but interesting thing, it's just because they dominate the pride that we have in the area, which is a Talamati pride. They often found in the northeast part, and also the Nkuhuma pride. They're also dominated by them. So for them to spread around as 3 males, makes sense that, you found the other there with the other pride, but for him to isolate, it also worked. It helps, because every time, the scent mark it's count for the whole coalition. It's not only works for one single line here. So what he's doing when he get a mobile every time he scent mark, also it helps the other males' protections. Welcome, 3 years old. Welcome to the show, afternoon show. So, really, they are not friends. It's so much competition happening between, where lions are far too big, one thing for sure, and a leopard, very small. Sorry about that. So then, most carnivorous species, they tend to not get along because of probably, food-wise. It's all about they feed on something they work harder for. Even though different kinds of, carnivores also prey on medium, different size of prey species. But, only thing that counts is that they're all carnivores. So they won't tolerate each other. They won't cooperate. And that way, lion would easily kill leopard. And the hyena knows. So hyena and the leopard also won't get along. Cheetah and the leopard and hyena won't get along. Where there's also jackals won't get along with lions. Look at this. So yeah, they are really not friends. They're actually big enemies. And they're all scavengers for sure. And look at this beautiful yawn. Look, you can able to see inside. There was a hell of a yawn, beautiful yawn there, but also look at the tongue sticking out again. Look at that. Sinus probably maybe he's going to stood up for us.
A very special sighting today on Anbion Pinna Private Game Reserve, where we've got a mother rhino and her calf that have come down to the water to drink. And it's a very special sighting today because it is World Rhino Day, where we celebrate these beautiful animals. My name is Devalt, and behind the camera we've got Craig, and we were looking for rhinos the whole afternoon, and we actually came across a pride of lions that's next to the watering hole here. And then these two rhinos walked right through the sighting to the water. So we quickly looped around. And luckily we've got like a little gap through the trees. Look at that. So peaceful. And they were trying to avoid the lions. They were a little bit nervous to just walk through the whole pride. And then they just looped around, but at least they got to the water. The youngster just looking around towards us. MJ, we are also very excited to see and find these rhinos, or rather for them to find us. Oh, what a beautiful setting and peaceful setting it is. We were just not winning with finding anything. People call us and tell us there's rhinos, and then we would get there and they were gone, and then everything just happened at once and the rhinos actually came to us. Something like drool or something hanging from his mouth there. Must be enjoying this water. Can imagine this time of the year, as we're just getting into spring, it's still very dry, and these white rhinos will be feeding on a lot of grass. And with the dry grass, you can just imagine they are very, very keen for this water. Yeah, we see you. KB, that's a very good question. You're asking how much water a rhino would have to drink. I think it's different with every single individual. If, for example, this young rhino probably drinks less than his mom does, and his mom, when she would have still been producing milk, she would have had to drink even more as well. But I think it's something like 50 to 70 liters a day, but they'll obviously come and drink more than once a day. But it does differ from different individuals and the sexes of the animals as well. Some other vehicles joining the sighting for the lion sighting, but having a nice surprise to see these rhinos on Rhino Day. The youngster's losing interest a bit. Still standing very close to mom there. Martha, you are asking how we can tell the difference between white and black rhino. So the easiest way is the lip. Look at the female's lip there. You can see it's very flat, square shape. That is white rhino. A black rhino would have a hook lip, more pointy face. And that is so that they can feed on twigs and leaves and use that lip almost as a prehensile finger to try and grab some branches also. So this flat mouth here is easy to just grasp grass and feed on that. Then another thing that you can look at, if we look closer at their whole body, then you would see that her head is quite elongated, and you can see how easy it is for her to get her head down to the ground, where a black rhino's head sits a little bit higher up. And if you look at the back there, you can see there's a bump almost halfway down the back, just behind the tree there. So that bump is right in the middle. With a black rhino, they would almost have a saddle, and the bumps are very far in the back and right in the front. So that is the big differences. And then another thing, if you get to see it, the ears are a little bit more pointier a black rhino. I was always taught a black rhino has kind of Mickey Mouse ears, quite rounded ears compared to white rhinos. She's really enjoying this water. You can see how she's been, okay, she's not drinking now, but she's been drinking quite a bit more than what the youngster has been. Obviously with that bigger body, needs a little bit more moisture. It's not a particularly hot day at the moment. It's nice and cool. Romy, you're asking whereabout the rhino's brain would be in looking at her head. So if you can imagine the horn being grown out, then it's about halfway between the eyes and the ears, but obviously in the middle of that big open space, but a fairly small brain for such a big animal. So I would say probably around a couple of inches below the line that you can draw between her ears. There she's drinking again. You can just hear the birds singing there in the background as well. And as I said earlier, it's a nice and cool afternoon, so I don't think they'll be too keen to wallow in the mud, but you never know. If she's got an itch or so that's irritating her, then we might be in for a surprise. Let's see, we're standing on the edge of a big open area, so if we're lucky, she might actually even come in this direction. She's listening behind her, because the lions are lying behind her, behind the thickets. We can't see them from where we are right now, but she's listening around, I think, trying to decide where she wants to go from here. Look at that flat lip, square lip that we were talking about earlier. There you can see it very nicely now. Ideal for grabbing the grass and just pulling it off. The youngster's just off to the right hand side now. I'm hoping that she actually comes this way. But let's see, she might actually just be taking a break from drinking. I've often seen that they'll have a drink and then go back and, or maybe take a rest a bit, let the water settle and then go back for another drink. But in this case, seems like she's on the move. Here comes the youngster out as well. In any case, whatever they do, it's going to be amazing. If they keep walking, they might come right past us. If they wallow, it will be amazing. That youngster was trotting a little bit earlier. I think he's a little bit more nervous of the unfamiliar smell and the smell of predators. See how he keeps looking in that direction, turning quickly towards the lions. I don't know if you could hear that, but there was a very loud exhale from her side as well. I think they also just catching their breath, also from moving around so much, getting to the water. That's why they're standing still for a bit. The youngster is inquisitive, coming closer to investigate us. For now, I think Craig and I are just going to wait here and see where these rhinos go, and maybe see if we can get a glimpse of that pride of lions.
We're still at Buffelshoek Dam, just admiring this old dominant bull, so delicately just plucking the leaves. We've been watching him for quite some time now. And how do I know he's an old boy? Well, his ossicones are completely bald, and he's got scars all over his neck. He's got lesions on his knees. He just looks rugged and old. He's very, very dark, which relates to his social status as well as his behaviour around females. Isn't he lovely? I've just been listening to updates about the Talamatis. They were obviously on Juma this morning, but sadly, due to the weather, due to the fact that it's been very cool all day, they moved into Torchwood, just in case any of you were wondering. Now, just like a zebra stripe, they say that these patches on a giraffe assist in thermoregulation. So they help keep it cool. Or warming up on days like today, which is really not very warm. We're all wrapped up on our side. And giraffe populations all over are said to be in trouble. Or at least the wild giraffe populations have declined by 40% in the last 30 years. So they are classified as vulnerable. Got rubbery tongues, rubbery lips. So they really don't feel a thorn or a spine or two, or possibly 10. Now, the 4 different species of giraffes, which is now genetically confirmed, there's 4 different ones now. The southern, the Masai, the reticulated, and the northern. And there's a really fantastic paper. It's a bit heavy, but it does go into great detail about how the DNA of these 4 different species have not crossbred or exchanged genetic material for millions of years. And that's why they're not classified as subspecies. These 4 are species. There are subspecies of giraffe, absolutely, but when you're referring to these 4, they haven't crossbred or intermingled or exchanged material, genetic material, in millions of years. Fiona, I just touched on that. So I'm saying he's an old boy because he's very scarred. Look at his ossicones there. On the top of his ossicones, he's completely bald. And he's got lesions on him. The older they get, not only are they much bigger in size, of course, this male is huge, they will look very rugged. Just like a lion or a leopard, they start to get tatty ears, scars, scratches on their face, their teeth break. It's exactly the same as a giraffe. So you can't tell exactly how old he is, but you can tell that he's definitely an old boy. He's very sexually mature, and giraffes can live for about 25 years in the wild. And therefore, I would say this boy's probably well over 15. He's huge. I know you can't see it very well from now because he's behind the dam wall, but he's a very, very large boy. And it used to be said that the colour of the thermal windows, the darker they are, the older they are. But that's actually not necessarily the case. It can be that as a giraffe ages, the sort of thermal patches, if you like, get darker. But not all giraffes darken. Some giraffes even lighten. So that doesn't work. But the dark patches relate to his dominant status. So more likely we're looking at an extremely dominant bull here. The paper's fantastic. If you are interested in reading it, it's called The Dark Giraffe is a New Dark Horse. It's a good one from 2019. So I had no luck at the hyena den earlier, so I'm going to go back and check if anyone's home now.
beautiful. Eventually our lion able to roar for us, but then it's just a little bit. Now he's up. He's probably looking around here, and then it's probably now getting excited of what the other lions have been calling about, but the sound is still coming from the far south. But now he's looking north, so he's not actually looking back south there where the sound just came from. Just amazing how you can able to see now his beautiful mane. It's a fully growing male. You can able to see a lot of a dark mix with gold. And then I witnessed this morning he's got a lot of a dark on it. And then, chin and neck, dark mane. So it's pretty fully grown male, for sure. But he hasn't yet decided to get mobile. But if he does that, then he's probably head exactly the direction of where he just had a contact call came from. But he's pretty much alert now. Look like he's pretty much listening far north. I know I saw a visual of elephants far away. I'm not sure if you heard those two breaking branches. But he's pretty much looking around here. I'm not sure what he sees close by. They're very good on looking around, and also their sight is so brilliant, able to spot things so small or hearing, pick up sound very well. As you can see, these ears are all covered with hair. It's so that even when it's too much wind, there is not much disturbed. The hearing point, they're able to pick up very small sounds coming from around here. So if it's anything you might actually want to hunt now, you will see him stood up, depending what's going to be antelopes, which, it doesn't look like there's any antelope around here. But you never know. The animals move to places quite often, change to another places before dark. And then maybe what has worried him now is that the other pride maybe had a kill wherever they are or not. This is what would make him trying to hooked up with them immediately or just before late. I'll sit here and see if he stood up for us.
Now from the lazily male lion, we have an active pride here. We have the river pride for those who are joining in. Now, a little while earlier, they were walking around out of their territory. Now they've almost got into the Owino pride territory. Now they've been walking around trying to find something to eat, I suppose. Now, around here we have some Topis, we have some zebra, and we have some zebras around here. So I'm sure they'll have to wait until it's dark for them to get closer. Topis have a very good and sharp eyesight, so the lions have stopped and have to wait for a little while.
Well, you never know when they stop, what they're planning or what they want to do. But the leopard here has left the huge tree trunk where she was, moved out, and she's now looking at a giraffe. Definitely 0 chances of her hunting the giraffe. 0. You can see her just yawning. The giraffe just looking at her like, Not sure she came down because of the giraffe. She might have come down because I found out what she was looking at before was some impalas. But when she came out so quickly, she ran up to where she is and she met that giraffe and she stopped right there. Normally when you see some of these cats yawning like that, chances are she will yawn and then maybe stretch, rise, and move on to the thicket. Look at the height of the giraffe. And she's just wondering, she knows she is not in any danger of any sort. She just want to be sure. And there's another one there. Apparently we saw 5 total, but now we have these 2 more. We've got 7 giraffes here. So just wait here a little bit and see what unfolds as the leopardess is slowly and surely moving to the thickets, and we'll definitely keep updating you.
So we went back to those lions, and then they all started walking out, and now we have the rhinos and lions, and there's actually cubs stalking the rhinos, coming closer and closer to them. Look at this. Oh my goodness. Look at these youngsters, heads down low, trying to see if they can get as close as possible to these rhinos. They're very inquisitive. Look at this. How crazy is this? You can actually now see the lionesses walking behind the rhinos here as well. Look at these youngsters coming through the long grass. How amazing how the rhinos have turned their heads towards the lions immediately. Oh, there's another youngster that's now creeping closer and closer. Might come into view on the left-hand side pretty soon. There he is. Oh, look at this. Here's some monkeys alarm calling in the distance as well, and the female the lionesses have just stopped and are listening in the distance. But see how the youngsters have lost interest as well. Oh, female lion, the lionesses are lying down. How incredible is that for World Rhino Day? Having the rhinos and some lions in the background. Watching right, you're saying these are some foolish youngsters. Yes, I think more inquisitive than anything else, and obviously very, very playful. And I can imagine they must think, these rhinos look quite appetizing. But you can see that the lionesses that lie down there in the back have absolutely no interest in these rhinos at all. The lioness is actually looking at the cubs. Oh, there's a cub that just, that one lying down, and then there's another one. This one that's walking away from us. He was just going down like he was going to pounce, and then he just got up, and I think he thought of it a little bit and probably thought these rhinos are a little bit big. Let's see what happens. These rhinos are actually moving a little bit closer to the lions, and we'll maybe see some interaction. The lions might move off. Here's the third lioness now coming to join the other two there. How incredible is this? So these are the same two rhinos that we saw drinking, and then they walked basically a couple of meters from our vehicle to this open area to come and graze for the rest of the afternoon. Oh, that youngster, look how he's looking up into the tree. No. Not too interested. We actually saw one or two of them climbing into trees. every time these rhinos move, these youngsters lie down with their heads down low, almost like they're stalking them. The rhinos aren't phased either, heads down and feeding, not too worried, but you can see that youngster there, how they are really interested in these rhinos. See what their bodies do. The rhinos have now looked up. You can see the youngster's ears pointing straight towards those lions. Oh, these rhinos were just going about their day, and now they're kind of in the middle of a whole pride of lions. You can see all 3 lionesses lying there. See how this young rhino is quite inquisitive, but still keeping his distance. There we go. Now I can see the lions nicely and the rhinos. And the cubs are starting to creep closer and closer from out of the shot. Oh, there they go. See how they're trying to make their bodies as small as possible. And walking very slowly. So this is all fun and games, but it is very important play that's part of these young lions, teaching them important skills of how to stalk and everything, but obviously a lot of fun for them. Look at that. Oh, that one's got a bit of a scar on his shoulder there. Look. They're getting nice and close to the rhinos now. It was almost like he was going to go and then decided, no, rather not. All of them starting to creep closer and closer to the back of the rhinos. Oh, there we go. Getting a bit too close for comfort for the female rhino. And how quickly they just run off. So precious. I think they're going to head back to their mothers now after being told off by the rhinos. Oh no, actually what they did was interesting. The rhinos turned and they headed to the hindquarters of the rhinos. Obviously not the dangerous end. One of the lionesses has gotten up now, starting to move it seems. Listening in the distance there. See how the rhinos are feeding bum to bum, almost as if they can look around themselves all the time. But for now, I think we're going to stick around and see what plays out here. These youngsters are so cute, trying to stalk these rhinos. But I think Craig and I are going to stick around. Oh no, oh my goodness. The one young lioness just showing a little bit of interest in the young rhino. No, not anymore. Wow, very interesting behavior. See our head is down low as well. She's very interested. I think this young small rhino. Yes, this young small rhino is probably not that big that she's interested in doing whatever she's doing right now. I think let's see what happens. I think as soon as that youngster just makes a sound or so, Mom will come racing. Look at that The lioness is almost like she's inching forward and she wants to pounce. Oh my goodness. She's teaching these cubs to hunt the wrong animals, it seems. Here we go, here we go. No. She's not getting there today. Oh no, she's moving off. It is a young lioness, so I think also a little bit playful. Oh yes, I think she's playful, that's all it was. So maybe taking a chance and being a little bit inquisitive to see what happens if she does try to chase the rhinos. But the fact that the little rhino probably turned around means that she's not too keen. But I think we're going to stick around. Oh, here she goes again. Here you go. Oh my goodness. I know, every time the rhino turns. Alright, so I think we're going to stick around for now and see what happens here.
Guys, have a look at what we found. Beautiful, beautiful. There's a pair of bat-eared foxes. So, okay, this is not only the one. As David goes out, you'll see the other one just lying in the shade. The one on the right-hand side was in the shade up until about, I want to say about maybe a minute ago. And it decided to come and bake in the sun a little bit before we have the sun disappearing. Have a look at how, when that one's sleeping, he's putting his tail around to his face, so as to cover that a little lighter colored face, and then pulling the ears down. I'm pretty sure, you can see when they're looking at us, you can see there's that lighter colors under the eyes, so as to help reflect as much starlight and moonlight up into their eyes during the evenings. They are mostly nocturnal, well, during summertime at least, and they use those huge ears like little satellites to listen for little beetle, larva, or a scorpion, or even a little gecko moving underneath the ground. Now you can see those ears properly. And then they'll actually go and dig it out. They do also feed on termites and ants. And I want to say during now this time of the year, before the rains have come, and also during winter time when there's not a lot of insect activity otherwise, it's probably going to be their primary diet, the termites now. However, as soon as it's rained and the beetles return and the butterflies return and there's a lot of larvae everywhere and all of those things, they're gonna diversify their diet quite a bit. But very, very cute. So they are burrowing as well, guys. So this little pair, I'm pretty sure, is going to be denning just by this raisin bush where we're seeing them right now. So hopefully soon they'll have little pups of their own, which would be great. You should see how cute they are when they look exactly like that, just almost the size of my hand or your fist, if you had to imagine how big they must be. So very, very, very cute. Already that big ears. And yeah, so very cool to have found this. We're going to stick with them for a little while and see what's going to happen.
Yeah, stick there and see what will happen, because, as I said, I was not going anywhere. I have not gone anywhere. And I might be introducing to you either a cub of Romy or another leopardess or leopard that has come in play. We're just going to confirm who this is, because if you look carefully now, there's that one there. To me, looks much younger than what we saw before. And I hope, James Richard, you're still watching. And I'm imagining this is Romy's cub. I could be wrong. And hopefully it's not the other leopardess that we see in the same area. You know how solitary leopards are. But now looking that one, she looks much smaller to me. And I'm guessing Romy could be having a cub. Romy disappeared, went in the grass in the thickets, like played a little bit with the giraffes. The giraffes took off. And then she laid next to that buffalo carcass. Definitely there's an old carcass. It's not her who brought it down. There must be been lions. But that's her at the base of that tree there. And now look at this one. This one looks younger to me. Not exactly what we were watching before. Very shy. And it's definitely a cub, no doubt about it. Which would then mean Romy has a cub. Yes, Megan. What a beauty. Thank you very much, Megan. You're saying what a beauty. And keeping watching here, and I'm sure Mel in the final control directing the show today will be in touch with James Richard. And then James Richard will just double confirm that Romy could be having a cub, maybe two, who knows. But definitely the one that you just saw walk away towards the thickest there is a lot smaller than Romy that we're watching on top of the fallen tree. Spending a few more minutes here to see if she will come out. Aha! James Richard, another Asante Sana from David. James Richard, another thank you very much, because you have confirmed that Romy has a cub, because definitely what we saw was a cub. Many thanks. It's a cub I had not seen before. I've seen, and there she comes again running. I've seen Romy a few times, but not the cub. There she is. Hello. Get the courage like mom. Your mom gave us lots of entertainment. She wasn't shy. She's just looking at us, and I'm sure with time, she'll get habituated and she'll be relaxed. And this is beautiful news. And Romy and her cub have made my sunset drive.
So here in the Mara we have the River Pride advancing towards the zebras. Now the zebras are facing a totally different direction, unaware of looming danger. So the lion have the advantage because of the wind. The wind direction is to their favor. Now the second lioness has advanced in. And also for those who are joining us live, we are currently having the River Pride going for zebras. Now, they've been stalking for about an hour from now, and look at how close they've got to the zebras. Now, the zebras are unaware of these lions because of the wind. Zebras have sharp eyes, and I'm sure when they see predators, they definitely have ran away. But because of the temperature, it's good now for lions to go on a stalking game. Look at the first lioness. She's gone down, crouched, hiding herself. See how she's walking. Look at that stroll. And then they move slowly and then stop and pause. So lions have to advance and get to a very close distance, I reckon about 30 meters. And for that, they will sprint in a short or fast burst to flash out or to get to the prey. Now, they have to surprise the zebra, otherwise it will become a failed attempt. So the zebras look like they've sensed something, but I'm sure it's just their instinct to walk away from the bushes. But the lion is still there, waiting to head to the zebras. Now, the other zebra might, or rather lion, might try and go and isolate. See, one has come and join in. See how they're walking together? See the soft and rushly pace that she's doing right now. Eyes locked to the target. She's walking hurriedly to catch up and close the gap between her and the zebras. Now, because of her experience, she has to get close enough before she sprints to catch one. So definitely she has identified who to go pick. So she has her eyes locked on the target. And if the zebras perhaps happen to see her, they'll all run away. So she has to do this in a very slow pace, not concealing herself out. Look at how she's walking. Look at the shoulder. So she's walking in a very low posture. Okay, there she runs, closing the gap. Okay, something got her attention. Yes, the zebras have decided to move off, but she's still going to follow. Now the other lionesses might try and isolate and maybe flash the zebras toward that direction. Now it's going to be a good chance if they happen to be around the bush, because they'll not definitely see her and they would be an easy target to get closer to them. Look at how skinny she looks. She seems like she's not eaten for a little while, maybe 2 days. So she must find something tonight. Okay, she's closing the gap. She knows that the zebras are around the corner into the bushes, so she has to walk fast before they get into the bush. So I'm going to follow them closely to see what they're up to, or maybe if they get closer to them, because the zebras have walked into the bushes right now. How exciting is this? We have 3 lionesses stalking. So we have to follow them closely at a safe distance and see if they will be lucky.
So I'm very happy that we ran into this hyena on the bank, and we're very close to where we had those wild dogs earlier. And if you remember, we zoomed into the carcass that was lying next to the dogs, the carcass that they were feeding on earlier this morning. And remember, I was saying that the carcass had been picked clean. And if you look at this carcass, you can see that it's the same carcass. So the vultures picked that carcass clean. So this hyena, in the time that we weren't there, probably came in and dragged this carcass up the bank. And now he is very quickly finishing it up. You'll notice that this hyena has a lot of scars all over him. If you have a look at his face, just above his left eye, he's got a big scar there, all around his mouth. And you also notice the ears are quite tatty. He's been through a lot. But just notice the ease with which he is breaking through these bones. Now, earlier I also mentioned that how powerful the jaws of the hyenas are. It's incredible to see them crushing the bone and doing it so easily. Peter is saying free supper. Indeed. I'm just glad all the wild dogs had had a meal before the hyena came in to take his supper. Because a lot of the times what happens is the hyenas will come in and they'll steal the food before the wild dogs had even fed. And then it makes me a little bit sad because they did all the hard work and the hyena just comes in and steals the food. But at least both of them have something to eat tonight. Those wild dogs are all very, very full and satisfied, I'm sure. Now, whilst this hyena is feeding, you'll notice it keeps lifting its head, just scanning around, because the sound of it feeding, once again, will attract other hyenas. And then it might lose its supper. Now there's pretty much just bone left here, and then there's a bit of the skin. But yeah, he's just breaking the bone. And then you'll see him licking the marrow out once he's gotten through the bone. And when you see hyenas scat next to the road, oftentimes it's white, completely white, because of all the calcium in the bone and because they eat so many bones.
Now, I believe we have Sibui's son here, but I would love confirmation from you all of you leopard experts. #WildEarth. We've just arrived on the scene, clearly a very young leopard. Testicles are visible, definitely a boy. I think it's Sibui's son. Sibui had cubs in August 2019. So this little one will be over a year now, if I'm correct. And the speculation, well, there's actually not speculation, there's options for Sibui's offspring to be either Mulwati, Quarantine, and Tingana. Now, I'm speculating by saying, looking at this little one's face, I see Mulwati. You're welcome to disagree with me. I think Mulwati's been a very busy male leopard. I'm sure it's Sibui's son. It's gorgeous. It was a litter of 2. There's a female as well. It's just James Richard. Thank you so much. I was waiting on you. Yes, it's Sibui's son. Perfect. We're on Chitwa. It's a very nice surprise to see a leopard who's very focused on something. I'm just going to slowly turn around. I don't see anything, as usual. But I think we don't have the Panthera DNA. I'm not sure if it's ever been sent away to Panthera, but I am convinced that's Mulwati in the face. But Sibui would have had access to Tingana, yes, she would have. And she would have had access to Quarantine. Those are the sort of neighbouring males. So I don't know who the father is. I am massively speculating, but I think I see Mulwati. Tristan and I were having a wonderful conversation today. Not one of us, both Tristan and I, have seen a single male leopard track on Juma since returning back to WildEarth. Lots of female tracks. Never once have we spotted a male track. What on earth is going on? Stuck in bed. I agree with you as always. He's very handsome. Really, and he's given us the perfect view up this termite mound. It's sad that there's not a lot of light today. But he really is posing. They're quite relaxed, Sibui's pair, both the male and the female. Especially compared to Kuchava's little one. Kuchava's little one appears to be quite skittish. Not quite grown into those paws yet. Oh, he looks like Mulwati. And boys, males, generally tend to leave their mothers a little bit later than females. Females, it's normally around 18 months, normally. But they can keep meeting up with their mother and having tender moments, but generally the females will leave and are pushed to independence at 18 months. And for males, like Sibui's son here, it's normally around 2 years. And as many of you know, males generally do tend to disperse. Oh, we're on the move. I am going to try and follow our handsome boy here.
So, alrighty guys, as you can see, not much activity. It's still just enjoying the afternoon sun. But just interesting about these little guys, you know, with them being so small. And now that we are in denning season, not quite in pup season yet, not quite baby season. That primarily focuses on the months of October and November, when you'll find them having puppies here and there in September maybe. But the average litter size for this little guy, or this little species of animal, is 5 puppies at a time. I imagine having 5 pups in that womb. Incredibly small, guys. They range between 102 grams to 142 grams in weight when they are born. So super, super small. I mean, minute actually. But the cutest little things. And you know, out here, you won't necessarily find them out in the open this much. No, not only the puppies, but the bat-eared foxes in general. Because with them being so small, guys, I mean, obviously they are prey species for quite a lot of, snakes, leopard in the Gelagadi Transfrontier Park. They are actually classified as one of the primary food sources of the leopards over there. Out here, our leopard activity isn't that high, so I think their primary predator would probably be something like maybe a martial eagle, or one of the larger eagles that we have in the area, martial eagle or a Verreaux's eagle or something like that. Even at nighttime, because they concentrate most of their movements during the evening, you'll find the Verreaux's eagle owls, used to be known as the giant eagle owls, or even something like a spotted eagle owl going for them. So they have to have their head on a swivel constantly. Lying out in the sun like this, baking, has its disadvantages, even though it's very nice. So we just had a question from Nao. How fast can these foxes run? Nao, not very fast. I mean, obviously having shorter legs, they're not going to clock the same speed as something like a leopard. However, the shorter the legs, the higher the agility. So, I don't know if you noticed earlier when we were looking at them, that big fluffy tail that he had wrapping around his face. They use that as almost like a startling device. So what they'll do is they'll run, and don't get me wrong, I mean, they're definitely fast. They're much faster than us. Probably able to run at around 45, maybe 50 kilometers, which is, I mean, as you can imagine, fast enough to outrun most animals. But predators and, raptors, those types of things, they are faster. They're designed to be faster, because otherwise they would not be able to survive. However, these little guys, they'll run in a straight line and all of a sudden make a turn, whichever direction. And when they turn like that, they flash their tail, almost throw it up into the air and cause it to go the other direction, making it seem to the predator that they're going, instead of left, they're going right. And then they do that quick turn to the left. And that just throws them off balance. And with them being so small, they just have to be able to outrun the predator for long enough, or the raptor for long enough, until they get to a little burrow which they can duck in, or a thick piece of brush like this. So not very, very fast, but fast enough.
So from the failed attempt where the zebras ran very fast, so the lions from the river pride have stopped a little bit. Now, a group of about 4 buffaloes have walked past where they were settled. Now the last one looks a little bit sickish or old. Look at how he's walking. I think these lions have picked her and look at how this one is following. Advance very softly, close pace. The buffalo is unaware of now his big descent. Yeah, I can see you. Now, this will be their target for now. Lions can be opportunistic. Wow, there you go. The sickly of buffalo decided to run. Now it's going to be a chase. The lions is advancing. Now all the other buffaloes have ran away. Now it's going to be a game of cat and mouse. Look at that standoff. Now she has to wait because the other lions will come behind this buffalo. As soon as he turns around, she follows. That is what we call a hunt. Look now, they've all come join in. Isolated one, and this is going to be an exciting thing to watch. For those who are joining us now, please send us your comment and questions to #WildEarth. Wow, look at that. Now they've joined in, the 3 of them. It's going to be an exciting thing to see. Look at how she's walking around to isolate, and off they go. Nice. Oh, there you go. We have something for them to eat. It's gone all the way to the jugular vein. Viewers, for those who think this is gross, this is nature taking its course. So these lions have what we call cubs. So they have to feed the cubs. Now, this is one exciting first one for this week. We've already have a hunt. Wow, look at them all. They want to pin her down, making sure that she is completely dead. Now the first lioness has gone to the vein, the jugular vein, to block her. Sorry guys, something went past. So she has to kill her by also engulfing and also choking her to make sure that she is completely dead, while the other ones pin her down. What an exciting sighting. The first lioness is still locked up, making no move. This other lioness has to go around. Just lady, wow. Thank you for your comment. Yes, this buffalo was lame, and you could tell that by the way she was walking, it was easy for this pride to pick her and just drop her down. It was not hard for them to do it. It was just as easy as ABCD. Now this is a meal that will last them for a while. I reckon even a week. The lioness at the back has started munching. She's going for the softer tissues on the groin, while the first one is still struggling to choke her. Well, this other one is trying to pull the leg. Not quite sure what she's up to. Wow, how exciting to see this. So these lioness have been walking for a long distance. I reckon now up to 3 kilometers away. And by the look of them, they were up to something. And of course, their price has been paid. So out of 5 attempts, I would say 2 were successful. But Right now, we've just watched a failed one attempt, and the second one just got successful. What a brilliant job these girls have done. Now, lionesses play a vital role in upbringing the pride, and because of their experience and how mature they are, it's easy for them to go after big prey, which will definitely last them for a while. Easy meal for these girls. Now, the other buffaloes have ran away. I was not sure if they'll come to defend, because sometimes when buffaloes get isolated, the rest of the herd come to defend one of their own. But these ones left her alone. What a shame. I'm sure she's not yet dead. After she's dead, the first lioness will definitely let go. The lioness to the left is busy chewing there. So this is an interesting sighting. Let's wait and see.
Sorry everyone, I can't stop laughing. Sabui's little boy here has been stalking. I can only see two, but we've also got a lack of light here. Huge adult male water bucks. And he's been slowly climbing up this tree, trying to blend in. And I'm almost certain they've seen him. And they are way out his league, unless he's got some superpowers that I don't know about. I think there's maybe a chance he's also giving up and gone to sleep here, but it's been rather entertaining watching him home in his sort of prowling skills, keeping his body close to the ground, blending into the background. But boy, those water bucks are too big for you. By a long way. I don't really think he's going to go, but he was definitely practicing. It's actually so lovely to spend time with him. It's been a good few months since I've seen Sabui's pair, and this boy is huge. 1 year old, still a sub-adult, but he's very large compared to the last time I saw him. And Sabui's territory is one I'm not completely familiar with, but I know it extends into Chitwa from the western side. Little Gowrie, Hoffman's, and it goes way further south than that into reserves that we don't traverse. She clashes with Tandy a lot. I think Trishala, big yawn. Trishala had a sighting where Sabui was present with Tandy's kill with her son, and I've also had a sighting where they've had a bit of a standoff. Oh, the water buck sees him. I think we're just going to watch them. Yes, we're enjoying watching the waterbuck. I know it's not the best view, but I don't want to reposition my vehicle. You should never block the predator's view, or the prey's view, in that matter, of each other. When leopard cubs are first born, they're really fuzzy, if that makes sense. And I don't mean texture, I mean appearance. The spots are not quite clearly defined, and they almost sort of run. It was like colours bleeding into one another, like watercolours. It's very, very fuzzy. And Davi says, as a cameraman, it's very hard to get a leopard cub in focus because you always think that it's out of focus. But you can see here, his rosettes are starting to become really, really well defined. He's a bit fuzzy around the edges, but he's growing into a big boy. And clearly spending time away from mom, time away from sister. So I think we're going to sit here and enjoy this stare-off between Waterbuck and Sabui's son a little while longer.
What a special sighting there, but we have been sitting patiently and keeping quite quiet, and these two rhinos are literally 5 meters away from us, just feeding away. And the pride of lions is still here, playing and starting to get a move on as night falls. The sun is completely down. See, these cubs are nice and playful. But one of the lionesses gave a bit of a contact call just now. And it seems like they are all going to start to get a move on. The rhinos are actually moving towards the lions a little bit now. See how that youngster immediately dropped his body down, trying to make himself as small as possible to see if he can playfully try and stalk these rhinos again. Look at them walking straight towards them. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. These rhinos have just been zigzagging all over this open area, enjoying the short grass. Oh my goodness, look at that. The youngster's just running off immediately. Leanne, you were asking if rhinos have good eyesight. So if you look at their faces, let's see if we can get a view of them. They're facing away from us, but you'll see their ears and their nostrils are quite big, but their eyes are tiny, tiny, tiny. So when it comes to their senses, their eyesight is not great. Look at that youngster, lion cub, looking over the piece of wood there. Oh my goodness, how cool is that? What a special sighting for International Rhino Day. Wow. Look at this youngster, the young rhino is very inquisitive of the young lions, and the young lion's obviously very inquisitive of the young rhino. Look at that. Oh my goodness. See how the young rhino doesn't move forward without mom coming and nudging him a bit, and the lions quickly scurry off when they get too close. It's almost like the rhinos are just trying to show who's the boss. There's actually some cubs that have now come behind the rhinos as well. Oh, nope. See how she's standing with her legs? I think she's a bit uneasy. Marge, you are asking if how a dehorned rhino would be able to defend itself against a lion. So having that big horn is obviously it's nice and sharp and so, but it would be quite difficult for them to try and impale a lion per se. It's their big weight, and they would still be able to trample a lion. So it's them being so strong and big that would protect them. Look at this youngster. Oh my goodness, you can just see the mischief on his face. So the horn of a rhino is used for protection, Marge. But just to get back to your question, but a lot of it is also to do with social interaction and fighting with each other, and so look at these cubs, so playful. They're gonna bounce. So cute. Now, as the rhinos are moving away, all the youngsters are going towards the rhinos again. Oh, I'm so satisfied with this rhino sighting. doesn't get much more spectacular than this. And they are moving off. I think they've enjoyed this open area and they've fed on all the short grass around here, and they're probably going to move around towards an area where there's a bit better grazing for them, and maybe a nice sandy spot to lie down and sleep, and maybe away from these lions. But for now, I think from Craig and I's side, we'll see you tomorrow.
This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills